We've had Xbox, PlayStation, and Nintendo as the only 3 games in town, no pun intended, console gaming-wise, for over 2 decades at this point. Others have stepped up to the plate, only to have been sat down one by one.
Hi, I'm with the Port Commission.
I'm from the Athlete's Foot Foundation.
Can you get my demo tape to somebody?
Is it about time for a new console to emerge from a well-established gaming company? I'm Troy from Marks on Games, and today we're talking about the possibility of a new console from SEGA to join the console wars. Now, on with the story. The link to the article I'm covering can be found in the video description. CBR.com reports it's time for SEGA to rejoin the console market. Though it hasn't made a console since the 2002 Dreamcast, SEGA is uniquely positioned to target a niche not covered by Xbox, PlayStation, or Nintendo. Though SEGA left the console industry in 2002 after the Dreamcast sold less than 10 million units, changes in the gaming landscape mean that a new SEGA console could be more popular now than ever. The company was known for its funky, offbeat games and its dedication to arcade classics instead of following gaming trends of the time. However, after a slew of disasters in the 90s, including numerous failed peripherals and handheld consoles, high prices, and a lack of blockbuster game releases, SEGA crumbled as the N64 and PlayStation dominated the gaming industry. In 1999, SEGA launched its final console, the Dreamcast. Unfortunately, a heavy reliance on unique games instead of AAA mainstream hits made players around the globe flock to other consoles instead. But times have changed, and so have players. Now could be the perfect time for SEGA to rejoin the console market. One of the biggest reasons SEGA started failing in the mid-90s was its aversion to gaming trends. The N64 and PlayStation finally took console gaming into the 3D realm, and players immediately became hooked. Though arcade ports, 2D side-scrollers, puzzle games, and JRPGs were still fun, gamers had little desire to play them, and instead were interested in 3D adventures and first-person shooter games like GoldenEye 007, Tomb Raider, and Metal Gear Solid. I never sat and broke it down like that before, but looking at it in retrospect, that's definitely an issue I could see with SEGA. They were certainly the old-school console out of everyone. The Dreamcast was unique from what I could see of it, and it hosted the first ever Soul Calibur game, which was cool, but like CBR.com said, they didn't have a lot of top-tier titles to keep them afloat. Nintendo always had their exclusives, and they were good. Nintendo also knew how to evolve and change while still leaning on their money-making IP. PlayStation and Xbox had a few exclusives right off the bat that made them stand out, but third-party games also did really well for them. We'll talk more about that here in a few, but I think that it could actually be something that really helps SEGA if they decide to jump back into the deep end of console gaming. Skipping down the article a bit, SEGA wasn't making what players were asking for and what was earning Nintendo and Sony massive profits, and that ultimately cost the company its future in the console market. However, as we've seen in recent years with the success of games like Undertale, Spiritfarer, Among Us, and Cuphead, players are now more open and willing to experience great games in various forms. The hyper-obsession with 3D adventures and shooter games is over, and gamers now welcome a much larger diversity of gameplay styles. SEGA's games would likely be better received in today's market. SEGA also had old faithfuls like Sonic the Hedgehog to fall back on, and can you imagine them announcing Mortal Kombat's return to SEGA? Maybe with the entire Mortal Kombat back catalog to go along with it? So many retro gamers would destroy their jeans over something like that. I'm going to skip down a little bit to another part of the article that I found pretty interesting. I queued this one up earlier when I was talking about non-SEGA exclusives. Digital releases would help SEGA attract third-party support. One of SEGA's biggest mistakes was that it lost support from many third-party developers during the 90s, most notably EA. That means that the Dreamcast lacked all of EA's famous franchises, including its ultra-lucrative Madden, FIFA, and Need for Speed series, which automatically gave the other consoles a head start in the competition.
Not a great plan.
Luckily, digital-only releases and online stores have made it much easier for small indie developers to release games for major consoles. Stardew Valley was developed by just one person but became a smash success, proving that even the smallest indie games can find success these days. It also means that even if Sega's relationship with some third-party publishers has been permanently destroyed, the company could still offer tons of popular third-party games for a new console. It definitely wouldn't be easy per se to compete with the three big dogs in the yard, but Sega has something that other new gaming company hopefuls don't have: a track record in the gaming industry. Sega has been around in one way, shape, or form for as long as most avid gamers have been alive, or longer. It's a big name with some pretty popular IP in its back pocket, and it's got the nostalgia feel to it, which people in today's world live for. They just need a few big-name developers who haven't been bought up yet to give them some time, get a few successful indie games, pair that with one or two of their own exclusives, and bam, they'd at least have a shot. To piggyback off the point I just made moments ago, another section of the article was headlined, "We're living in an age of nostalgia, which is perfect for Sega." They go on to mention the call for older shows to get another run, older movies to get remade or have sequels, and how retro gaming is a huge market, which it very much is. All three major consoles do versions of that with subscription-based services. You can read the rest of the article in the link down in the video description, but that's the gist of it. Again, I'm not saying that this is a perfect environment for a brand new fourth console to launch. I'm also not saying that Sega can do what everyone else, including big-name companies, have failed to do, but I am saying that if I had to bet on a rise of a fourth console to compete with the three top guys, I wouldn't bet against Sega. Comment down below with your thoughts on all of this. Do you think now is a good time for a fourth console to throw their hats into the ring of the console wars?
How about no?
Do you think Sega would have a good shot of success? Are you a fan of Sega? And if you think a fourth console should come along, but not a Sega console, who do you think should make it? Let me know in the comment section. Also, please share this video around with everyone you know, and don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and don't forget to click that little bell to be notified every time we post brand new content. I've been Troy for Marks on Games, and we'll see you next time.